Am I the astronaut for not going home after giving birth because my husband missed it to help our friends? I, 32, just had our second baby a few days ago, and instead of going home, I asked to be discharged to my sisters. I don't know if that makes me an asshole or overly emotional or whatever, which is why I'm here. Some background. My husband, 33, and I were teen parents. We had our daughter, 18 and 19. She's 14 now. It's been a long road, and we waited a long time to feel ready to go through it all again. This baby was very much planned and wanted, but ever since I hit the third trimester, I felt kind of alone in it. My husband started spending a lot of time with this couple we know. They're in a similar boat. They had their first as teens too, and just had their second recently. I get that it's a lot for them. Their oldest is 17, and they weren't planning on another, so he's been helping them out. But it went from a nice gesture to almost daily visits. Grocery runs, watching their newborn while they nap, fixing stuff around the house, bringing food over sometimes with our daughter tagging along, sometimes without even letting me know he was going. Meanwhile, I was trying to keep up with everything at home, going to appointments alone, dealing with the mess that is late pregnancy. Boop! I brought it up to him more than once, and every time he'd either say I was exaggerating or that he was there, just not in the way I wanted him to be. Boop! He kept saying I was being territorial or weirdly competitive about them needing help, which made me question myself even more. It shouldn't be a competition, brozo. I also started noticing changes in our daughter. She's an ice dancer and has an intense schedule. And after going with her dad to help at their house, she'd come back totally spaced out, quiet, eating less. I figured she was just tired, but it started to feel off. She almost fell during practice one morning because she was so drained, and her coach made her sit out the rest of the week. That was a big wake-up call for me. I told my husband that enough was enough and we needed to pull back, not just for me, but for her too. He apologized, said he'd keep the visits shorter, only go when it was really needed. The visits were hardly shorter, but my daughter seemed less tired, and I could actually go to sleep with my husband some nights, so I counted it as a win. When I went into labor, I called him from the car while my sister drove me to the hospital. No answer. Texted. Nothing. He showed up about 4 hours after the baby was born with a slushie for me. Said he was sorry, but the other couple had a rough night and he didn't want to just leave them stranded.
A slushie? Slushie.
I don't know what to say. I don't want a big scene right there in the hospital, but when I could be discharged, I just had my sister take me home to her house since my husband wasn't there. Now he's saying I'm being dramatic, that I'm punishing him for helping people who don't have the support we do. I have no support. He told me I'm being cold and that I'm setting a bad example for our daughter by shutting him out. He's also implied more than once that I'm trying to act like a victim when he was doing what any decent person would do.
No.
That's not what a decent person would do. His mom called yesterday and said I should be ashamed for taking the baby away. I never said anything about keeping our son from him. I've told him he can come see the baby whenever he wants. I've been texting our daughter, keeping up with her, and I plan to be back home the moment I've recovered enough. I'm not trying to split our family. I just needed a break, a quiet space to breathe and actually rest. I'm exhausted mentally and physically, but now I'm second guessing myself. Was it wrong to go somewhere else to recover? Should I have just gone home and tried to work it out there? I don't want this to turn into some drawn out fight or drama, especially not with a newborn in the picture. I don't even know if I'm thinking clearly at this point. Edit, our baby is a boy. Sorry. Oh, yeah, boy. Relevant comments before we unleash Tater Thunder. Commenter 1, you're not wrong. You went to your support system so he could continue to be their support system. He just doesn't want to admit that it was his fault that he missed his own child's birth. What if something bad happened during labor? He put his friend's comfort over his wife's and child's health. That's the bottom line. Are you saying that he has not once gone to your sister's house to see you and the baby, all while continuing to go to his friends, and he doesn't see the problem? Tell your mother-in-law that he had the chance to come visit and take you home, but is putting his friend's comfort over his family. Your husband needs therapy, or needs to come out with the truth that he is in an open relationship with the other people. Oof. How many people in chat saw that one coming? Is that what you thought? Is that what you thought, Tater Rooney?
No, I think that's just speculation.
OP says he did come once to hold and play with the baby. He made our daughter stay in the car so she could meet the baby at home. Commenter 2, get your daughter with you. OP says, I'm trying to get her over for at least this weekend, but he's fighting me hard. Commenter 3, aren't you worried that they keep taking advantage of your daughter? What if they are abusing her? OP says, yes, I've started worrying too with how off she's been, but I thought it was just stress at first, and I didn't want to just blindly accuse anybody, but now I'm not so sure. I feel sick thinking I might have missed something. I'm trying to figure out a way to handle everything without it blowing up in my or my kids' faces. Yeah, that's one of the first places my head went. I was like, no. Commenter 4, OP, are you sure the baby the other couple has isn't secretly his? You've made your point several times of needing more support from him as his wife, and you gave birth to his child. Flat out ask him if there was a situation he read online or the roles were reversed, and the husband of the other couple kept coming around like this, what would he think? Tell him he either steps up for his family, and when you're able, you guys get couples counseling, or he can contribute child support instead. 100% NTA. OP says, I genuinely don't think so. The baby doesn't look like him, and the timing's off. I'm more hurt that he's putting them first, not really thinking it's anything like that. Commenter 5 says, info, have you talked to the couple to see if he really is helping them? For a couple who's going through the same thing as you, teen, new baby, wouldn't they want your husband to spend time as his family? OP says, the wife did call me a couple times in the beginning to thank me for doing things like making food for my husband to take over, and I gave them some of my daughter's old toys. There is an update 6 days later. Before that, what the f***?
I don't think this man deserves to maintain the relationship with his wife, and making his daughter, like, I think the part that pisses me off the most, besides him missing the birth, is the fact that he made his daughter wait in the car.
Straight manipulation.
Because he wanted her to meet her brother at home.
He wanted control of that situation. Using her as a pawn.
100%. And like, I don't think she has reacted enough. And I know that she's pregnant and she just gave birth. But I feel like the daughter has to get out of get away from the dad at this point, because you have no idea what the is going on. You don't know what is happening to your child when she's not in your presence. You don't know why your husband is over there so much. You don't know anything that's going on. And I feel like that priority should be your daughter. Like, something is happening with the way that she reacted to being over there in the situation. Like, this whole thing to me is just, but she shouldn't have to do any of this. And he's just a nasty piece of shit. And to not show up for his wife, to not answer the phone, like, all of those things scream, I don't give a flying about you. I only care about what happens with this couple. I don't know if that's his baby. I don't know, but that's what it feels
Something's
like to me.
Up.
It feels like that's his child and he's over there taking care of it. I mean, does her husband even exist anymore? Is that woman's husband still there? Like, I don't know. It's all weird.
The one thing that you do know, OP, is that when they were going over there as much as they were, it had a negative effect on your daughter. That's the only thing you know. And that's enough. That's enough to make it stop. Right now, if I had to make a wild guess, I would say she was so exhausted because they're making her take care of the baby while they party. Yeah. And he likes to party. Yeah. I hope it's that tame. You know what I mean? Because if they're doing something to this teen, that's scorched earth.
I feel like the way that OP is reacting and questioning herself, like, this husband just gives me really bad vibes.
Dangerous
like, she
vibes.
has trouble standing up for herself and being like, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. Bring my child into this house right now. And it's that the fact that she can't do that makes me feel like emotionally in some way she has been beaten down.
Update 6 days later. Hey again, I just wanted to thank everybody who commented on the original post and gave me honest feedback. I wasn't in the best headspace when I wrote it, but reading through the replies, even the harsh ones, helped me more than I expected, and I figured you were owed at least this small update. So 2-ish days after posting, I took my daughter out of school for a few days. Nice. I had my sister bring her to the house so we could be in the same place and I could get a better read on how she was actually doing. I didn't want to come at her all at once, so I let her rest and decompress a bit. Gave her some room just to be a kid again. Sleep in, eat actual food, breathe. Then one afternoon we were doing dishes and just chatting. I gently asked what it's really been like at the other couple's place. I told her I wasn't mad, I just wanted to understand. She paused for a while and then told me the truth. She's kind of been seeing their 17-year-old son. Not officially dating, but spending a lot of alone time together. She said she had tried to remind her dad it was getting late, but the boy would pull her aside and they'd end up hanging out longer. She didn't want to get into the details, but it was pretty clear what she meant by the way she kept blushing and looking away from me. Her being tired all the time suddenly made a lot more sense. And dad was just sitting there just like, cool, we'll keep blazing it up, you know what I mean? I also asked carefully if anything felt off about her dad lately, and if he seemed out of it or off in some way, or was acting strange during their visits. She said not really, but that she'd smelled once or twice, usually when they were finally about to leave, and he was usually really sweaty at the end of it. She didn't seem too freaked out about it, but it made my stomach turn a bit. He was partying. But instead of her being parentified. She was just being pimped out to the sun, I guess. Jesus. When my husband found out that I had taken her out of school and brought her to my sister's, he lost it. He accused me of trying to turn her against him and called it parental interference. Like, okay. I told him I just wanted her to rest and have some space. He wasn't hearing it. A few hours later, his mom called me yelling, saying I was trying to steal the baby, isolate our daughter, ruin the family, etc. She left this long voicemail about how I needed to bring his children home where they belong. I haven't responded. Also, how funny, every time he feels some kind of consequence, Mommy gets the phone call, and then she comes marching over like Dolores Umbridge and says her words that mean nothing. I haven't told him what our daughter shared yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to bring it up and how to press him for more details about what he himself gets up to during those visits, other than what I figured out from what my daughter said. So yeah, that's where things stand. Messy, exhausting, but a little clearer than before. You know what's crazy is this 14-year-old daughter's telling her all this stuff, and she's like holding a baby that she just pushed out of her too, right? Thanks again to everybody who took the time to comment and offer perspective. It helped more than you know. I'll update again if anything more happens. Edit, I'm sorry this is so jumbled. I wrote it after putting the baby finally to sleep. It wasn't jumbled, OP, just my face was jumbled. Top comments here. Commenter 1, a 14-year-old has zero business dating a 17-year-old while her father gets high and who knows what else with his friends. It would take an act of God to get me to take that child back to her father. Commenter 2 says, woof, this seems like you found a thread that is about to unravel the full nasty truth. Commenter 3, something still doesn't feel right here. 14-year-old dating a 17-year-old who sounds like he's coercing or forcing your daughter to stay there longer. There's way more to the story. Please request temporary custody and get her away. Commenter 4, get your daughter to an OBGYN and pregnancy test. Who knows if they've been using protection? Who knows who the 17-year-old has slept with before? File for emergency custody ASAP now. Oh, that's it? That's the story?
Yeah, it's
what is happening?
It's a cliffhanger ending because there is no update. I just checked her profile again because there wasn't one earlier, and I was just double checking to make sure that there was no more information. But yeah, that's it. That's also this man does not deserve to be around his children in any way, shape, or form.
Agreed.
I don't think I've ever heard a story where I've wanted her to file for divorce so fast to get away from this man, because his mom, the way that he's treating, where only what he wants matters, and also, what was the thing about where he's really sweaty?
Really sweaty by the end of it, and she smelled. I mean, he could just react that way, or they could be doing something that's not that.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was further other stuff, or if it was like sex with the other woman. I didn't know what the sweaty with this about, but this is not a relationship. This is a prison sentence to be in a relationship like this, where you feel like you have no control, where every time you do anything to stand up for yourself, you're met with this much opposition and made to feel like you have done something wrong for standing up for yourself and your children. That is not a relationship.
To the point where
that is prison.
Child is being somewhat trafficked. It's way worse than you think it is. We can safely say that, right?
If this man was in front of me, he would not be walking away unscathed, because this is one of the lowest pieces of shit that we have ever encountered in a story that we've read. To do this to his daughter, to miss the birth of his son, and to just treat his wife like nothing she says or does matters. And that, to me, is just the trifecta of nastiness that you could ever experience in her life, and I'm so sorry that that's her life.
Yeah, that's a triple failure of the basics. So what is it? It's got to be something that whatever he's doing with them, he's addicted to.
Oh, 100%. And I do not believe this is just. There's way more than that going on. There's way more than something
something like whatever it is, he's addicted to it to the point that he can't see what he's doing.
And for his mom to be like, "What the are you doing?"
Yeah, because he runs and tells mommy every time he has a problem.
Go test your son and figure out what the is going on. This feels like.
We'll go ahead and throw this his direction. Easy, right?
2 in one night.
2 black holes in one night. Wow.
Yeah.
They were on sale. It was a buy one, get one deal at Target.